Okay, so have you ever felt like you and your partner are totally speaking different languages?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to connect and they're just trying to, I don't know, fix everything.
Oh, definitely.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive that might actually help explain that.
Sounds good.
We're going to be unpacking John Gray's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus,
Oh, yeah. Classic.
which uses that whole planetary metaphor
Right.
to explain why men and women
Mm.
sometimes seem to be on like totally different wavelengths.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a classic for a reason, right?
Right.
Even if you don't, completely believe in like traditional gender roles,
Hmm.
the core concepts, I think, offer some really valuable insights
Yeah.
just into understanding how communication styles
Yeah.
and like emotional needs can impact really any relationship.
Totally. It's not about stereotyping or anything like
Yeah,
that. It's
no.
about giving people tools to kind of decode those super frustrating moments where you just feel like we're not speaking the same language.
Yeah, you're talking past each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Gray's main premise, really, is that men and women are just wired differently.
Okay.
And this leads to different ways of processing emotions and communicating, obviously.
Makes sense.
One of the most famous examples of this is the cave analogy.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
So break that down for us. What is this whole cave thing?
So Gray suggests that when men face stress or problems,
Okay.
they tend to retreat into their cave.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a metaphorical space
Okay.
where they can process things internally
Oh.
without feeling overwhelmed, basically.
So they're not trying to shut you out. They just
They're not trying to shut you out.
need a minute.
It's not about that.
Oh.
They need that solitude to kind of recharge.
Yeah, but I think for a lot of women, connection is how we process.
Right.
So it's like we need to talk it out or vent or get support. Like that's how.
We process things. So when somebody goes into their cave, it does feel like rejection, even if it's not.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of those communication clashes can happen.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine a woman is sharing frustrations about work.
Yeah.
She might just want empathy, just a listening ear.
Totally.
But a man kind of in his, in his wiring, problem solving,
Yeah.
might jump in with advice or suggestions,
And they can be so frustrating
which can totally backfire.
because then you feel like they're not listening.
Right, because then she feels like he's not listening, like he just wants to fix her
Exactly.
and, not really understanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the key here is to understand those underlying needs.
Yeah.
Men often express care through actions, right?
Mhm.
Like problem solving.
Yes.
Women, on the other hand, seek that emotional validation,
Yes.
feeling heard, understood.
100%.
And it's not about one being right and one being wrong.
Right. It's just about kind of understanding that, okay, we come at this from different angles.
So rather than assume we know what they need, we should just ask.
Just ask.
Do you want to brainstorm or do you just want me to listen?
Exactly. Let's get it out there.
Clarity is key.
Yeah.
Now, when you're reading something, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Uh-huh.
I think Gray's concept of love languages might be one of those moments.
Yeah.
He breaks down the ways people give and receive love into 5 categories.
Right.
Words of affirmation, acts of service, giving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about,
Yeah.
how you feel most loved
Yeah.
when your partner does something specific?
Totally.
Maybe it's little love notes, or maybe it's when they help with the dishes
Oh, yeah.
without being asked.
I mean, my partner, I've noticed, feels most loved or appreciated when I acknowledge his efforts.
So, if he fixes something or he's working on a project, if I specifically mention that, oh, I really appreciate that you fixed that, or this looks really good, I like what you're doing here.
Yeah.
It's more impactful than just good job, honey.
Exactly. Because it shows you're paying attention,
Yeah.
And I think it's about tailoring those expressions to your partner's specific love language.
Totally.
And it works both ways, obviously,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
You should pay attention to how your partner shows you love and try and reciprocate in a similar way.
Okay, so I want to talk about 2 really memorable analogies from this book.
Oh, yeah.
The rubber band and the wave.
Right.
I mean, these just, they stuck in my head,
Yeah, for me, and these illustrate the kind of ebb and flow of relationships.
Yeah.
The rubber band represents men's need for space.
Okay.
So they pull away like a stretched rubber band to recharge, and then they snap back, and often feeling closer than before.
Okay, so we got to stop taking it personally when they pull away.
Yeah, I think sometimes we misinterpret that that pulling away
Yeah.
as a sign of disinterest.
Totally.
But it's really just part of their process.
Right.
Whereas the wave analogy represents women's emotional cycles, right?
Right.
Which tend to be more fluid, you know,
Yeah.
peaks and valleys
Yeah.
like a wave.
Yeah.
And during those crashing wave moments,
Yeah.
women often need that support, that understanding, not necessarily solutions.
Yeah. And again, just clear communication.
Exactly.
I need some support right now. I don't need you to fix it.
Right.
You know?
Right. So instead of panicking when your partner needs some solo time,
Yeah.
you should see it as a natural part of their cycle.
Right.
And when you are going through those tough times, just communicate that need directly
Yeah.
rather than expecting your partner to, magically intuit it.
Totally. Okay, so we also have to talk about conflict because, I mean, it's inevitable in any relationship.
Right.
But Gray does have some, I think, pretty practical advice on how to navigate it constructively.
Yeah.
One thing that he says is to avoid blame and criticism.
Right.
So going into it with curiosity, with empathy,
Right. Like,
trying to understand their side of it.
help me understand what's going on for you.
Exactly.
Help me understand why this is so important to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And also remember that men and women often have different goals when it comes to resolving a conflict.
Yeah, because men might just want to
Right. Men prioritize a quick solution.
fix it and move on.
Right.
Whereas women might want to feel heard and understood before we can even get to a solution.
Exactly.
So compromise is key. Right.
Compromise is key. Big time. Huge. And remember, taking a time out can be beneficial.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
If things get too heated,
Yeah.
agree to take a break and then come back to the conversation.
Yeah.
When you've both had a chance to, chill out a little bit.
Yeah. So to wrap this up, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus offers a framework for understanding, inherent differences and how we approach relationships, really.
Right.
And I think the key takeaway here is that by recognizing these differences in communication style, in emotional needs, in ways of expressing love, it can lead to more empathy. It can lead to stronger connections.
Exactly. And remember, this is just a starting point.
Yeah, of course.
Every relationship is unique, right?
Yeah.
So it's essential to communicate openly and adapt these concepts
Yes.
to fit your own, specific dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've given you a lot to think about today.
We sure have.
How do these concepts resonate with your own experiences? And how might applying some of these insights shift the way that you interact with your partner?
Right.
Maybe leading to a deeper understanding.
Deeper connection.
Yeah, or a deeper connection.
For sure.
Definitely some food for thought
Absolutely.
as you navigate, this wild world of relationships.
It's a wild world out there.
It really is.
It is.